kids come up front and line across. Yeah, crew. Yes.
So this is a small portion of our cast and crew. Our cast doubled in size from Moana to Aladdin, and we had 18 cast members who had their debut performances this year. So they're going to tell you who they are, how long they've been in theater, and what part they played in Aladdin.
I'm Aiden Duncan. I've been in theater since the very first production we've had here, as far as recent years go. And I played Aladdin in the recent play.
My name is Rain Skidmore. I've been in theater for 6 years, and I play Jeannie.
I'm Abby Justin, and this is my first year in Big Sun. I'm Molly Cruz. This is my first year, and I played Babcat in the last play.
I'm Elise Frank, and I have been in play for 2 years, and I play Pasha.
I'm at the first and
I'm Eve Barch. I've been in theater for 5 years, and I played Prince Abdullah.
I'm Vivian. I've been in theater for 2 years, and I'm a stage crew.
My name is Matthias, and this is my first year of doing theater. Oh yeah, as the cameraman.
My name's Cole. I helped like 5 plays, 2 of them I've been in, and the rest I've done lights.
I'm Miss Warren. I'm the art teacher. This was my second show directing. I'm Vicki Vandabunty. I'm the middle school and high school, I guess, ELA. I do have a music degree, so it was a pleasure to work with these wonderful ladies as well.
And us as a group were really excited and proud of the kids and all of the hard work. We started in January, and we worked for 3 solid months, 2 hours every night to get it all together. So we are super proud of them.
Good job, guys.
It was really, really good.
Now, those parents and students, you are welcome to stay with us tonight, and it is also fine if you go in the evening. You are, either way is fine. Staff included. Yes, I understand. So it's totally up to you. That was the whole reason for having you go right off the bat. There's a lot going on, kids are busy, so we get it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll continue on with the rest of our board meeting, and the board has received the minutes from the March board meeting. I ask for a motion for approval.
Motion approved. I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
So, Aaron?
Motion.
Personnel items, the board seeking approval. Sue Martin as a long-term substitute, helping with our high school and middle school science, I believe.
Motion approved.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Heidi Smith as a long-term substitute on maternity for a kindergarten teacher.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Then approval for Cheyenne Clifford as our evening custodian.
Motion approved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
finally, an approval to accept Jake Peckner, a resignation from assistant basketball coach, boys varsity.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And motion approved. The next action this evening would be the claim docket. The board has received that previously and asked for a motion for approval. Unless there are any questions.
Motion to approve the claim docket. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And motion approved. Moving on to the balance sheet, some information for the board's review. Any question by the board? I think we'll continue moving on then for public comments. Are there any public comments on the general board meeting this evening?
I got two. What's the reimbursement resolution on?
That would be for the 1028 hearing. That would be following our regular board meeting.
Okay. And I'm curious, where'd you get your maintenance vehicle at?
Well, I'm actually going to ask the board to table that for tonight. And then I'll be able to speak more about that at a future meeting.
Thank you.
Okay? Yep.
Any additional questions?
The HVAC replacement for the Tiger Den, is that going to be separate from the rest of the building, so maybe the other part of the building can be used for something else?
Yes. Yep. And that is a replacement unit for one that's going bad on top of the Tiger Den.
Anything additional this evening? Okay, we'll continue moving on then for HVAC replacement.
So I would like to ask the board for item number 8. We were able to receive 2 quotes. You were provided with those. So I'm asking for approval to purchase and install the new HVAC at the Tiger Den.
Let's do that.
Kelly, is there a warranty? What's the warranty on that? You know?
Look at,
Okay, 1 year.
1 year.
get 1 year in that item number 23 in your packet.
All right, thank you.
Yep, 1 year workmanship warranty and OEM parts warranty.
Sorry, I didn't see it.
Oh, that's okay.
Motion to approve. I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
Do you know which one we're going with?
That sheet there is Circle R Mechanical,
Okay.
number 23. The next item, number 9, is what I would like to ask the board to table the utility maintenance vehicle for this evening.
Motion to table it. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Thank you.
Okay, then we'll continue moving on to the next portion of our meetings. I ask for a motion by the board to approve the opening of a 1028 project hearing.
Make a motion to open the 1028 hearing.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
So this agenda item is for the board to hold a project hearing on the proposed projects. If you are interested this evening in speaking at the hearing, please make sure you have the sign-in sheet at the front of the room, which should include your name and address. And after a presentation by the administration and its advisors, there will be an opportunity for the public to make comments about the projects we'll be discussing. At the hearing, we will ask that each person limit their comments to 3 minutes and the topic be limited to the proposed projects under consideration. The notice of this hearing was published as legally required. At this time, I'd like to call upon Superintendent Shepherd to explain the purpose of this hearing.
I've got 4 names signed in. Did anybody else want to be able to sign in? All right. So, briefly to speak to the purpose of the 1028 hearing, and I apologize for transposing the numbers on the second spot. I have a 1082. That doesn't exist, but it's a 1028 hearing. Pursuant to Indiana Code 20-26-7-37, before a school corporation may spend more than $1 million to build, repair, or alter a school building that will be financed by a lease or bond, it must hold a public hearing at which explanation of the potential value of the project to the school corporation and community are given. So that is what I'm going to work to do for you now. So I've worked on this presentation to kind of get the board and our public we're going to back up a little bit, some brief history. It won't be long, so don't get worried. But it's good timing now. I've been here 5 years. We're coming up on my 5th summer from getting here to Tri-Township. So it's a good time to talk about the past, the present, and the future. So when I got here in the summer of 18, what did I inherit? At that point, Tri-Township, as a school corporation, was about 6 or 7 years old. Buildings with an abundance of history, but with that history comes age. And we certainly had plenty of that. We discovered real quick, we were looking at an overstaffing issue. We kind of had right somewhere prior to or right when I got here, we kind of had an enrollment dip, which helped exacerbate the fact that we were overstaffed certified teachers. Basically, we shouldn't have 2 4th grade sections that one has 10 and one has 9. And we brought in a completely new administration with myself and Brian and other principals at that time. We had a school improvement vision that was coming to an end along with that administration change. So we were faced with hard decisions early. Right-sizing the district, going back to you've got to have the right amount of staff that fits your enrollment. That's how the finances work, all right? The basic grant is what pays for our people. Each student is worth so much from the state, and that's how we populate our classrooms with teachers. We were fighting the physical plant a lot early. Water problems, way too often. We had the one incident where it was actually raining on my desk down at the old building. We had HVAC issues in both places. Electrical issues creating connectivity problems. There was a lot of tech issues due to the outdated infrastructure, basically, that I had inherited at that time. So, out of the gates, getting a handle on the finances, getting a handle on the physical plant, in addition to, while doing those things, trying to tackle the enrollment trend, that was first and foremost. That was goal number 1. We kind of got through that, but it took some tough decisions, and it led to a big tough decision. After a couple years of realizing the facilities that I had at both ends, it became very apparent to me that we had to do something to secure a long-range future for us. And this needed to happen because of budget, for programming, from an environmental standpoint, for our kids to be in, and from an enrollment standpoint. Okay, you'll hear that enrollment a lot. That's important to every single school in the state, but it's magnified for somebody small like we are. Okay. So where are we at now? What's the current assessment? Enrollment, we leveled out there. at least from 21 to 22, we went up 7 students. That's huge for us. That's a big deal. We're very happy about that. This time of year, though, we're always on pins and needles about the next count day in the fall. Because when it's that small, every single student makes a big difference to the budget. But we've had a successful addition of 5 classrooms. So we're at the point where our education dollars and our operation dollars are getting spent more wisely, more efficiently. I think Brian would agree. I think staff members in attendance would agree. I hope board does. Right now, our culture and climate in this building, I couldn't be happier with. It's exactly what we were hoping for getting on a single campus, having everybody under one roof. There's just a lot of good that comes out of that. That leads to us being able to make choices about programming and what our kids need. I feel like the services continue to improve for all of our students due to strong professional development initiatives. We've brought in a lot of grant money. We've been able to train them in many different initiatives, and we're going to continue to benefit from that. We've had a reboot to our PLTW offering, and it's been a big hit for our students. We had proof here to start this meeting tonight that our art and music departments are really taking off. We've got things to be proud of there. Quality offerings with that, and I think Ms. Torrey mentioned it, those numbers of kids that want to be a part of the next drama production, they're going to keep climbing because we've got good people doing good work. We've had several meetings now, and we've got another one coming up. We're trying to partner with New Durham schools, with Westville schools, to see what could we share programmatically that benefits both sets of students. That's a financial decision and a programming decision combined in one. We've asked our athletic department to get the coaches more together on how we share student athletes. Because at this place, our kids have to do multiple things in the same season. So we've got to have a good shared plan in place to do that. We want not only their individual experience to be better, but we want our kids to be able to compete too, okay? That gets that team's enrollment numbers up. That's another way to market kids potentially coming to us, staying with us. They want to be able to compete, all right? Takes me to where are we headed next? Where's Tri-Township going next? It is my firm belief and our shared belief, and when I say our, I feel like this entire building, that this single campus location, enhanced and enhancing facilities, new and improved and improving programming, and continuing our professional development, it's going to lead to growth. I truly believe it's going to lead to growth for us. Because if you aren't moving forward, then you're falling behind. You cannot stand pat and wish or hope good things are going to happen. You got to actively seek that and make it happen. So I feel like that's where we're at and that's where we're headed. And so here's a lens to look at it. And this is great. I'm so happy that when I kind of gave the permission for parents and students to leave tonight, I'm glad few did. Because here's a lens to look through. What does the average parent or community member say about us in casual conversation? In 5 years. Tri-Township has an outstanding elementary teaching staff. Pre-K all the way up. 2 things you can count on. They're going to love your kid like they are their own, and they are going to push them academically and in character education. That's what I hope to hear people talking about in 5 years. Tri-Township has an outstanding arts program, music, art department work together, just like we saw an example here recently with our play. Tri-Township has a state-level competitive robotics team every year. We have high-quality pathways for each and every student. We have an academic team that is competitive at state-level competitions. Our athletic teams are becoming more competitive and consistently compete to finish near the top of the conference standings. Okay? I want that to be the conversation in 5 years, not, oh, there's lacrosse, boy, those kids try hard. That's good, but I want to give our kids the tools to compete. Okay, I'm kind of wired that way, I like to win. Tri-Township offers a great environment for kids to be in because we take great care of our facilities. I feel like that's more true all the time. So now, how does this connect to our strategic plan that we've been wrestling with for a couple years and the project that we want to initiate, hopefully? How does it connect? So I'm going to go through a few things here to connect the future visions that I just outlined for you. Additional learning space. Okay, if we're going to make that statement about our kids and teachers and what happens here come true, we're going to make sure we give them the environments they need. That might be that we may determine at the end of the day that is extra classroom space. We might determine what we need right now and for the next several years is smaller learning spaces because a lot of kids need small group instruction. Some kids need a space to go to get one-on-one instruction. Right now we're utilizing some shared spaces, all right? Parents want to know that their students are in a safe environment. And when we say that, safe environment takes on a lot of different meanings. Not just physically safe, but in every way. Air quality, roof system, HVAC, our camera system, our entryways. We want to provide safety in all its various forms to our kids. Consideration for finally upgrading these restrooms here, they're showing their age, okay? That's no different, that fits right in. That's a sanitary concern, it's an environmental concern. Aesthetically, when we have these events like we just had, Aladdin, some music events we just had, if you come to those, and I know a lot of these people in the room do, you see how well attended they are based on where everybody's parking. Those people are using our restrooms. That's a first impression for some of those people, all right? That can determine whether or not they think, hey, this is someplace I'd love for my kid or my grandkid to go to. We need every single impression of our facility to be an inviting one. Like I just mentioned, parking consideration. You know, every school day we're fine. We can get through a school day no problem. Still have 24 open spaces during the school day. But for those events, you guys know it's a free-for-all, so that's not the case. It's a consideration. Recently, we added upgrading our baskets here in Wanatah's gym. And we're really talking about side baskets in addition to the main court. Why is that necessary? What we have is very outdated compared to what other schools have. Those new baskets would give us the ability to bring the rims down for our pre-K, K, and 1 kids. Actually teach them the skills of basketball. And that's where that starts. Instead of, again, just showing up and being, you know, the Tigers that put up a good fight, but may not have the skill level to come out on the winning side. Should we consider an all-weather track? This spring, we've got 25 total boys and girls on the track team. A year ago, we showed up to a couple meets with 8 kids. We're growing that in spite of the fact that our kids are trying to compete at that without even having the facility to practice that. But I can't think of another public school that doesn't have a track facility pretty much at all, but ask their kids to field a track team and go somewhere and compete. and try to score some points. So it's on the list. That's a possibility that should be considered. A cinder track out here, I know when I hired in at Knox to teach 3rd grade in '97, and they had their cinder track for the first year I was there, and then it went away, and they got an all-weather sports facility. Other area schools followed during about that same era. We're falling close to 25 years beyond that now, and we still have a cinder track. Continuing on the athletic side of things, we've talked a lot about our strategic plan of wanting to do some improvements at the Tiger Den. And we can create new dressing rooms for boys and girls instead of, maybe some of you have never been inside those locker rooms, but you can hardly fit 5 or 6 people together to change into your athletic uniform. For years, we've had nowhere for the officials that we need for those games to change and dress. Those things are on the list. We've talked a lot about lighting the baseball and softball fields because, again, this connects to marketing, which connects to enrollment. That's one of those things. If that's something ultimately the board decided would be a great thing for us, that falls in the category of us having something nobody else does. And it's not a cinder track. It's having something that everybody else wants. And we could be one that has that. Storage is always a need. So, we have a storage building on there. If you come to the back of the building here, on the east side at all, we're looking straight at those portables that are certainly showing their age, and I don't know how much longer we may be at the point where we bring the after-school program back inside the building next year. We're certainly struggling to put much weight on the other side that we don't put people in as far as storage. So it's on the list. So, as I've stated, the board and the administration, 2-3 years we've been talking it through. Talking about a strategic plan. Where are we going? What do we need to do to get there? But I'm going to anticipate a potentially obvious question that could come, so I'm going to answer it ahead of time. How are we deciding to have a project if I can't stand here and definitively tell you for what? What are we doing with that project? Well, the answer is actually a very simple one. We are being so diligent and methodical and thoughtful about how we spend taxpayer money and cognizant of the fact that some of the kids sitting in here in this room, the decisions we're going to make are going to impact them as they get through middle school and into high school. So that's why we're wrestling this thing to death. We're trying to make sure, to the best of our collective abilities, that we make the right decision with how we spend money and what we choose to do going forward. Okay? Because in actuality, I could, in all honesty, sell you the need far out is going to exceed the dollars that are currently available and that are going to be available to us. That's why we want to be real. Whatever dollar amount we do get, we want to get it right. And I want you to understand what is the lens we look through. I say that phrase a lot because when you're making this, there's all kinds of different lenses and filters you use for different situations. Here's what's driving the work we're trying to do to decide how to proceed with our next project. Number one, students. Number one will always be students. But it's the students here and now, a lot of them in this room. It's the students in the future, and then that word enrollment again. some of what we're going to do is geared towards, can we bring some of our students back home who have out-migrated? Can we keep some of our students at home who might be thinking of out-migrating? And can we steal from other districts around us because what we have is better? Facilities and product. Okay? And then infrastructure. Number 2, 1, students, 2, infrastructure. We need this to last and be well maintained and well taken care of. That's the dual lens that we're looking at, okay? Which brings me to, this is as far as Brian and I have gotten. I'm bugging him on the last several Sundays. Hey, what are you thinking today? What do you think what if this, what if that? But here are 3 options that we have come to that will just kind of give you a little bit of an idea, and then I'm going to turn it over to Luke, who's going to talk more in depth about the financing. But you can see there on the left, option 1, if we did a $2.2 million project, here are some of the things that we may choose to get accomplished, okay? And you look at that and you go, oh my God, yeah, things are expensive. It doesn't go as far as you wish it would. You know, if we chose to get the entire perimeter of this building's windows, which are mainly from 1980, if we chose to get those updated and work on the facade where some of the caulking and maybe a few bricks are cracked, that right there is $575,000. Okay, so it gives you an idea. But in that option 1, we could get that done, restrooms updated, storage building. The office renovation would be if we chose, we want smaller spaces to work with kids in small group instruction. We could do an office renovation and do something similar to how we created central office right now, subdivide a space, okay? The locker rooms, that's the Tiger Den, right? Correct, Brian? The locker rooms are the Tiger Den. What I told you about earlier, the dressing rooms for boys and girls to have proper locker bays and the whole deal. An official's locker room, and the roof on the Tiger Den is part of that. Option 2 is a $2.65 million project, and you can see some of the things that are in there. That would allow us completely finishing the roof. Can't get that to scroll down, but I'll tell you what that bottom, we've got school roof, more of the school roof completed here on option 1 at the bottom. But option 2 would allow us to complete all the rest of this roof, plus get the Tiger Den roof done. So that's some of the differences there. And you see where the all-weather track with lighting, possibly parking, or Brian might be able to get that screen to lower down for me. What I've got right here, folks, that spot there has all-weather track lights and parking, or 2 additional classrooms. If we wanted the 2 additional classrooms to stay ahead of growth that we anticipate, that has those choices in that box have a price tag of approximately $930,000. All right. Option 3, a $3.2 million project. Some of the same things. Shorted me on that screen. Some of the same things in there. Again, that same at the bottom, whether the track or the classrooms kind of live there together. School roof completion Some of it, the parts that need to get updated the most, we still have the Tiger Den roof and the locker rooms down there. Again, the office renovation. It kind of showed, again, now let me go back real quick before I turn it over to Luke. There's a reason I'm showing you, these are options. 2 months ago, I could have given you 10 options. We're getting closer, but we want to try to get it right. Okay, so that's the process. That's what we're working on. So at this point, let me see if I can get Luke loaded. There's going to be a point once you hear the financial piece from Luke. We will open it up. We'll call our names and we'll answer questions and hear comments. And now, Brian, I might need. I got him up here, but how do I get switched to him? Because I got him sitting over there on my screen, but I need it to reflect. Go all the way up. I'll tell you what.
As we're working through that, I just introducing Luke. Luke is from Stifel, our public finance underwriter, and he's going to discuss about how the proposed projects will be financed, as well as information about the effect of the typical property taxpayer. So he's going to get into more finance information for review tonight.
Just go and pull it out of my email on the screen. Brian loves it when I put him on the spot. I let him kid you.
Let me do it like a topic. I'm over it.
That's right.
Did you buy it?
Okay, kind of idea.
No. Outside of your piece.
So you made a mistake when I had it up there. That's what I need. Yeah. There's
Upgrading the Tiger. That's the other 800,000, or other million. $1 million was office space, new windows, this building. The track was on there. I'm glad you're upgrading the Tiger. HVAC. That's not even in the middle. And the test when I played basketball. The problem was in that last time I was in the gym dressing rooms is when I played basketball. So I look at different.
No, you should be, where the music room is, under the stage.
Yeah. Under the music.
Where the music room is. You know where the music room is, right?
I remember there used to be a shop way back then.
Because right now, it's the community, all the pieces and girls, all those girls that. So when the team comes, the girls are in all locker rooms and our kids be like a true locker room.
Yeah.
And then the official locker room is one of the boys' locker room.
Kids.
It's like a play, it's an intermission.
No, when I was at school, that's really good.
Yeah, I don't remember any problem. I got that.
How was today? Today is, it's, the whole,
Yeah.
it's a whole story to have any notes.
It's the same weather track, just a different bed.
Rubber.
Yeah.
Like the recycled tires. Because the state, they run on cinder stuff anymore because it's bad for the back. So, it's the thing
Yeah.
because it's got nutrients so they at least have two supposed to choose from.
My apologies, folks. Not the most technical.
Good evening, Luke Brugman with Stifel, service bond underwriter for the school corporation. As Kelly and Tim both mentioned, we put together a couple scenarios, the financing options that were just presented there, really what this bond issue would look like and what this would mean to a taxpayer as far as the tax rate goes. So starting with the first option, the base option, this is really what we talked about a couple weeks ago at the last board meeting. And that would be for the $2,270,000. And this pie chart got a little bit distorted whenever we switched over, so bear with us here. But of that $2,270,000, about $2,130,000 would go toward hard and soft project costs. The remaining would go towards the cost of issuance and capitalized interest. So the vast majority of it is exactly what Kelly was walking through with the windows and masonry, the roofing, all of those types of things. The $2,270,000, this is based on going no increase over the 2022 debt service rate, so you're really right at that 15 cents there, 14 cents I think is what it actually was. In green is the school corporation's existing debt service tax rate. In gray would be layering on this new $2,270,000. The second option for $2,650,000, again of that $2,650,000, about 2.5 of it is going to hard and soft construction costs, with the remaining going to cost of issuance, professional fees, capitalized interest, things of that nature. So that's where it's about $400,000 higher than that previous option. And what that means from a tax rate perspective is about 1.25 cents over the 2022 debt service rate. So a slight increase when compared to the previous option. We'll get to it here in a second about how that compares to schools nearby and also to the statewide average. With the third option, $3,205,000 for the bond issue, about $3,050,000 or so going to hard and soft project costs, with an estimated the remaining going to capitalized interest, professional fees, and cost of issuance. So we're basing the $3,205,000, that's a 3-cent increase over the 2022 debt service rate. And we want to show here what does that mean to the average home payer or homeowner. So if we face it or factor everything based off of that 3 cent, that 0.0303 increase over the 2022 debt service rate, for a homeowner that has a home of $100,000, that equates to just under $10 per year, or approximately 83 cents per month. For a $250,000 home, that's $39.50 per year, or $3.29 per month. So we're showing the maximums, knowing that we can always come down from these amounts. Obviously, the increase in the first option is going to be 0 across the board, and then the option with $2,650,000 is going to be in between 0 and $3.30 a month for a $250,000 home. So I made a comment a couple weeks ago about how you guys have one of the lowest debt service tax rates in the entire state. So we actually wanted to quantify what that looks like, and I don't know if you can read all those down there, but at the charts at the bottom show the school corporation's total debt service tax rate and the total school tax rate compared to nearby school corporations. Tri-Township's on the far right in both of those. So the debt service rate, even with this, the proposed $3,205,000 as a maximum, would come out to $1,753 for a debt service tax rate, well below all the nearby peers. It would actually be, well, right now you're currently the 20th lowest debt service tax rate of all Indiana public schools. There's over 200 public schools throughout the state. So you're in the bottom 6.9 percentile. With the proposed $3,205,000 as a maximum, that would increase your debt service rate just slightly and leave you with the 28th lowest debt service tax rate of all Indiana public schools, or best value. Trying to factor all that in, it's about 42 cents. So when you're looking at the 1753, even with this proposed project, you're less than half of what the state average is. That's really all I have there. I'll turn it back over to Superintendent and the school board, or happy to answer any questions as well.
Right. On that note, we can move on to the next phase. So the next phase is we had a hearing open. So now we're moving on to the public portion of the hearing. So remember, if you would like to speak on the public portion of the hearing, which would be now, please let us know now and currently sign up on the sheet so we can continue that part of the process. But as we mentioned earlier, we ask that you state your name and address, limit your comments to the proposed projects and financing, and keep your comments to 3 minutes to avoid being repetitive if possible. And may ask for the sign-in sheet. So now we have this sign-in sheet. Does anybody else would like to come up and sign in, or is everybody happy with who's already signed?
I already signed in, but I got a comment if I can.
Yes.
Time. And it doesn't have anything, I guess, with what your proposal was, but it didn't mention the school building, the old school building at all. And last month I did submit an interest in the building, and I never got a response from the board. I don't know.
Okay. So on that, you will.
Okay.
We do intend on having a conversation with you.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Just, basically this is taking center stage at this point. But, yep, I have that. Mr. Goose had handed that off to me, so I'm aware that we're going to have a conversation.
Okay, all right.
Yep. I want to ask a clarifying question myself, actually. So total school rate over here on this side, this gets us up, in case Tri-Township, that gets us up just a slight edge then over Oregon Davis, one of our neighbors.
Correct.
Can you confirm this for me? Maybe you can, maybe I'm putting you on the spot, but do they have an active referendum revenue stream? Or is that something you'd have to research?
I'm not sure, I can get back to you with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because it seems to me that they have funding coming in above that, their 72 cents in the form of referendum dollars too. I just think that's important to further show where we rank financially. The lights on, and I have Mr. Irwin, you're first on the list.
Okay. As far as the stove area, where do you got enough ground to put a track in the parking lot? And how many will the parking lot hold?
So we believe that we do. The answer to the question would be yes. As far as space, most likely, I mean, currently the thought would be where the cinder track is sitting in that area for a track. To answer your parking question, one of the things that we've previously gotten a pricing for was 24 additional spaces, where at the back of our current main parking lot, we could get 24 more spaces fit in back there.
And then down the future, you're talking about putting a building over here, and that's gonna have to be sometime for a parking lot?
We have talked about, you're right, we have talked about that, a building in that space. We've talked about parking for that space. So those are, again, two things that we have talked through.
I know these windows on this building here have been talked about for a long time. And I know we've kept our rate down. But I don't think our money has been invested years ago like it should have been, because we should have more money in our coffer right now than what we got.
Okay.
I know that we could have went with, you guys could have went with the state and invested the money too, but the rate's so low, because the state was paying in the other institutions.
Okay.
I just hope you have a better outlook for the financial down the road.
Understood. Anything else?
Well, I hate to see you take that new office or whatever it is and make it a classroom, but I agree with you. You gotta have a place off where the kids can be bothered, where there's no noise or anything. You got more of a one on everybody.
Okay.
That's all I got to say right now.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Kelly, can I ask something?
Yeah.
Okay, my question is, and you guys, you've talked, you know that. What is the farmer's rate up here? The land?
Do we have
The tax rate or what their
No, what their,
base
for-
rate?
yes, for the acres for a farmer to farm, how much will that go up?
So the state sets a base rate for farmland across the state. In 23 it's 1,900, but they're going to be paying the same tax rate. We can quantify that for you though. I mean, how much what the increase would be for that 3 cents
Per acre though?
per acre. Sure, we can get that for you.
Thank you.
Good question. Fiona Erlin.
Well, he touched on what I was going to say. You've just spent a lot of money on that office area.
I think I might have confused, and that's on me if I did. Yeah, we're not anticipating undoing what we just did in that office area. Sometimes my mouth gets lazy. I might have misled you. We're talking about some other identified spaces in the building that could potentially get remodeled and repurposed that are smaller, that might serve for some of those one-on-one and small group instruction areas. No, I gotta have a place to go. So we're happy with our office space in there. Yeah, so I'm sorry if I confused you.
It's only been a couple years.
Yeah, just one actually, so we're not, yeah, that would be unwise of us to undo the money spent there. That's not what we're thinking at all, so my apologies. Jim, Shealy.
No, that was, I already spoke.
Oh, okay, all right. And Julie Griffin.
Okay, so on the three options, the roof, are we able to go back to that slide or no?
You're testing our technology skills here.
You've seen me in action, Julie.
Well, okay.
Do you want a copy of it, maybe?
Yeah.
I'd love to have a copy of it. The roof is a different rate under each of the options.
Yeah.
And under the high option, it had the lowest amount to be spent. And you're not identifying what we're doing, because over the last couple of years, we've been doing all kinds of crazy stuff, like 3 different things with the roof of this building. Is that roof doing anything with the buildings over in the cross? And why is it the high option has the lowest figure, and then the low option has the mid-range figure? So like, what are we doing different?
Great question. What that reflects is there was something in that third option that we wanted to capture there. Something in that third option.
Yeah, the third option, I think it was like 250.
Yeah, so there was something else there that we wanted to make sure that we fully captured to have in that option 3. And so what we did was take some money from the total roof completion.
Does that mean if we go with option 3, we get all the upgrade on everything else, but we're not doing everything we could on the roof?
Not necessarily, but we wanted to make the dollars,
because
the numbers make sense on
mid-range one, I
paper.
think, was 3.
Yeah.
And we currently utilize for the current project 400,000 of our own cash before this is even being brought up for the potential.
Yeah, it's just that because there is 2 different properties.
Correct.
That roof I personally would like to have more breakdowns, like what roofs are we doing again? Because we've been talking roofs for years.
Okay.
We've been doing roofs.
So I tell you what I'll get for you is that we've got this roof system here. I've got a map that shows them numbered. And what we just completed, pretty much last week, I did the final roof inspection up there.
Yeah, I think there was like 4 or 5.
We did all of section 4, all of 5, and a huge percentage of section 2, okay? To the tune of what Tim said, about $400,000 that we've spent out of our, we'll call them saved dollars. We got that done because, as you know, somewhere in this hallway here, we've existed with a trash can catching
Well, even in the new
rainwater.
section, there was a leak issue.
Yeah, those things were taken care of in that project. But in those options too, we've got the Tiger Den roof. So you see the Tiger Den roof update. That's at the high end, but that barrel style roof that is over the gymnasium part.
Right.
Somewhere, what my roof guy is telling me, somewhere between 85,000 and that 125 number, we can get that roof redone and have a 30-year warranty on it. That's what we have now on these 3 sections is a 30-year warranty.
But my confusion is where it says school roof completion. That's this facility. So so it makes sense that the mid-range is more than the low. But when we go over to the high one, it's
I shouldn't have put that.
It's 13,000 less than.
I shouldn't have put that word completion in there. That's on me.
I'm just still, even if it just says roof, I'm trying to understand under the high one, what is it's being taken away from the roof fund to make that lower than what the low option is, option 1. It says 250, where under option 1 it's 263, and then under option 2 it's 300.
I think it was to help us get the windows and masonry in that option.
That's what I'm saying is if the board agrees to go with the high number 3, and get everything done,
Mhm.
what is not getting done in the roof for that 13,000 that's been dropped off?
Again, I really think we can get it done. This,
It just jumped off the page at me.
I understand. It was to make, I kind of tackled each column on its own silo, but to give the board and the public, as of right now, today, these are the things we think we can accomplish at those, a portion of the roof undone. But again, so let me clarify this. The pricing is not, the pricing you're looking at is not set in stone until we get to a bid process.
Oh, it's been a roller coaster.
You know,
And go up.
it's some down. But it's that ultimately that bidding process is where you start to solidify those numbers. So the truth of the matter is, we could get, once we get going, there might be something we have to cut. Because we have to be under budget. Whatever that budget ultimately we decide on, we have to stay under it. So it's very possible somewhere in the process we go, no, we don't have the funds for that. It has to go. Okay? Does that help? Okay. What else?
Excuse me, I do have a
Go ahead.
question. Does this, I remember when we had this project before, you're talking, we had a 2.7 million threshold. Is that threshold increased now? It's up to we have 3.2 million, that's the threshold now?
That's correct, and Luke can tell you why. Is it valuation?
Yeah, so it's based on 1% of your gross assessed value. So as that assessed value grows, your threshold increases on an annual basis. So we're changing on an annual basis depending on what the assessed value is.
Very good question. Thank you for allowing us to clarify that. What?
Okay, would anyone else like to speak before we close the hearing? We definitely appreciate everybody's attendance tonight and all those who participated. Please note that just as we said this earlier, this is just the first step of the legal process. The board will continue to work together with the administration and its professionals to look at the efficiencies, the conserve tax dollars while meeting our educational needs. So there's a lot to digest between us to make sure that we're making the most out of taxpayers and giving everything that the students need, and we're looking at the future. So, from that, for the board consideration, Mr.
Yeah, so
Shepherd.
So to clarify, what the board has before them now is a decision to make on if we want to initiate a project tonight. They don't have to decide, and we wouldn't be deciding this evening, to what taxing level for a project. But if they choose, if they want to do, if they know we're going forward with a project, whether it be 2.2, 2.65, or 3.2, they can initiate that here tonight with a Exhibit A, which is right here, with a project resolution. And the project resolution, and I've made copies for anybody that wants a copy of this one-page resolution. If they choose to initiate that tonight, Luke's company, Stifel, has, it is written as such to be the max. It's written so that the max is reflected to show that the resolution cannot go above that number. We can choose one of the lower options. We don't have to make that choice this evening, okay? So, with that, board, we are at that spot on the agenda where if you want to discuss initiating a project this evening, that is through simple motion, vote, an initiation.
Make a motion to approve the project as resolution.
I'll second it.
All in favor? favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion so approved for the project resolution.
Okay, and then with that, since you have so chosen to initiate the project resolution, and again, for anyone that wants a copy of that, I have. Then we have one more resolution for the board to approve, Exhibit B. And what this is a declaration of official intent to reimburse expenditures. What it's saying is, if we get started sooner than we get some of those funds, this resolution will allow us to reimburse ourselves from those funds. Okay? Any questions on that? That just simply gives the board the ability to reimburse themselves from the project funds. So a motion for that?
Make a motion to approve the reimbursement resolution.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The reimbursement resolution is approved. We have a motion by the board to close the 1028 hearing.
The motion is closed at 10:20.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so approved.
All right, thank you very much, board. Mr. McMahon, do you have anything additional for this evening?
No, I'm gonna hold off.
Okay. Before adjourning, I would just like to thank everybody that stayed with us tonight and participated. It's honestly, it's kind of nice to see this many people in the room. Sometimes our voices echo. So it was nice to be visited, and we appreciate it. You're welcome back. Love to have you. We'll keep doing some of these recognition nights so that we get more of our student body in here. So that's all I have.
Motion adjourned.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks again for your attendance this evening.